Hello, I am loading my dishwasher. I do a little bit of marriage counseling before I do weddings, and I ask people, what are some of your pet peeves about your partner, and how do you deal with that? A huge number of couples argue about how to load a dishwasher. Here's a Calphalon pan that says dishwasher safe, but one person in the relationship says it'll get scratchy if you put it in the dishwasher. Calphalon just wants to make you buy more pans. Don't follow that rule, follow my rule. Others complain about how we load the flatware. As we're loading the dishwasher, are we in a rush and we throw all the flatware wherever it goes? Or do we meticulously separate the knives from the forks from the spoons? And how do we deal with some of these plastic things? These are things that bother us. They bother us with how we live with other people. The Apostle Paul had to deal with a church that were bothered with each other and the rules that they followed and how they followed them. There were some people who grew up Jewish that believed it was very important for the church to celebrate all the high holy days of the Jewish faith. And then there were all these Gentiles who thought, why am I separating some days from the rest when all days I'm supposed to dedicate myself to God? Here's what Paul writes in the letter he wrote to the Romans in chapter 14, 5 through 8. He says this: one person considers one day more sacred than the other. Another considers every day alike. Each of them should be fully convinced in their own mind. Whoever regards one day special does so for the Lord. For none of us lives for ourselves alone, and none of us dies for ourselves alone. If we live for the Lord. And if we die for the Lord. So whether we live or whether we die, we belong to the Lord. It seems a little confusing to me that Paul is talking about holy days and now he's talking about living or dying for the Lord. And if that's the focus, what does that have to do with dishes? Well, I think that if we put our priorities straight, a lot of the little rules that we have in our lives begin to be less important. Somebody asked Jesus, what's the most important commandment? And he said, to love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and to love one another. If our focus is the Lord and one another, and not knives and forks and Calphalon pans and plastic containers, we don't get as upset with how the dishwasher is filled. And instead, we focus our time and energy on discovering new ways to love God and new ways to love each other. That sounds like a great home to live in. Fussing and fighting over dishwashers doesn't sound like a very fun home to live in. So let us take Paul's advice and worry about the things that are important and get along even though we disagree. And love the Lord. Live for the Lord. Love one another. Live for one another. Have a blessed day.